In this intro, we have a C pedal over here with some kind of a bass line, and we have those two chords, B flat major 7 sharp 5 and E major 7 sharp 5, that always come back, and we have a different resolution with the D flat major 7 and here F major 7 sharp 5. So that's an interesting sound. That's a sound I was really exploring at that time, and so let's listen to it now. Here is some kind of a transition part between this 8-bar intro and the actual theme, where we have this E flat major triad that stays over on the top here, and with the melody and a bass line that goes D flat, so that's gives us a E flat 7 color, and then E flat over B, so that reminds us actually of the sound of a major 7 sharp 5 chord. E flat over B, that's like B major 7 sharp 5, this color, then E flat over B flat. So again, just a triad. So that gives us an idea of what's going on, you know, like a research exploring the triad over different bass notes. And then we have this triplet. So that's interesting because it's a 4-note group, but in quarter note triplet, so that gets displaced. And then we have, again, this E flat major triad, but with this chromatic descending bass line G, F sharp, or I should say, I should have written G flat, F, E, E flat, which is announcing the actual line, the bass line of the melody. And then here we have the actual triad. So here we have E flat major triad. Here we have E major triad. Again, it's not very well written. I should have written G sharp. So E major triad, E flat, B major triad, D flat major triad, and then repeat it. So basically that's 1, flat 2, 1, flat 6, flat 7, 1. So this flat 6, flat 7 to 1, that's a fairly common progression, especially the flat 7 to 1. It's called a backdoor dominant. And we still have this bass line. So we have E flat major over G, E major over F sharp. So that's going to give us some kind of a F sharp sus4 chord, right? You see how on top we have the triads, E flat, E major, E flat, B, D flat. So you could think in terms of those triads when you improvise, because the solo is going to be on this part. Or you can also take into consideration the bass line, and then E flat over G, well, that's E flat. You could think G Aeolian. Here, this E major triad over F sharp, that could be considered like a F sharp sus4. Then E flat over F, again, that could be F sus4, F minor 7, B major over E, that's definitely giving me a E major 7 sound. And then D flat major over E flat, definitely a E flat sus4 sound. So let's listen to that. E flat major triad on top, descending bass line, triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The new bass line, now the chords. And now we have the bass line and the changes. All right, those triads, E flat, E, E flat, B, and D flat over the descending bass line. And now we have the melody. And the melody, I composed the melody really to fit the triads. Developing. All right, so now here is an interesting moment because we go from 120 all right, and we resolve on this bar. I wrote a 8/4 bar, but it's really to announce the half time. We're going to half time here, and then we have a little transition moment with those triplets at 60, and that triplet, that 8/9 triplet, becomes the 16th in a new tempo. So here basically we're always slowing down. We're 120 half time to 60, and then the 8/9 triplet becomes the 16th note. So we're slowing down to the quarter note at 45. We have a melody that builds up, goes to the top, to the very high register, and we're slowing down even more because now we're going to go rubato. We're going to play this section rubato to come back al segno here. So let's listen to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So a half time in 6/4, but it can maybe emphasize this feeling of slowing down. With the progression, F minor going down to E major 7, and then C minor going down to B major 7, G minor to G flat, and then resolving half step. Basically, it's in the cycle of fifths, right? F to C, C to G, but then here I resolve like it was a sub 5. Triplets, 8th note triplets, becomes the 16th. And now we have this new harmonic progression. Still an E flat, all right? Just triads, very simple. E flat of a G, A flat, B flat. Here comes the melody, always a third on top of the bass, and with this melody ostinato, always going up. Going to the rubato section, which is based on the transition from the intro to the theme. back in, back here. You see, that's a rubato part. E flat over D flat, E flat over B, E flat over B flat, and E flat over A flat. And then open over this ostinato, and that's basically the end. And we're going to come back with the melody, finish here. All right, so that's a quick overview of this tune. Hopefully you dig it, listen to it, check it out online, and you can get the PDF if you want to play it with your band, and come see us play live. Take care, keep swinging.